Hello and welcome to our Casemap module. Casemap is actually one of my favorite programs to use at the law firm. It's not really a trial presentation app. It is something that you might use from the start of your case all the way through trial. And there's absolutely some creative ways that you can use Casemap at trial. So, for example, you might use it to link to PDF files for version control, or something that's easily portable that you could take with you to the trial site because you can sync and replicate Casemap cases and the linked data to your local computer. But really what Casemap is known for is case organization, analysis, and reporting. And this is important because typically lawyers do this in really unusual and unique ways. So an example of that is the yellow legal pad. Attorneys like to use a yellow legal pad to write down all their notes. And maybe they transfer those notes, some of those notes, over to Word or Excel and create a chronology of some kind or a list of documents. Maybe they put a list of their issues on that spreadsheet or yellow legal pad. And what Casemap is really a replacement for the yellow legal pad, because it'll do all those things and it'll allow those three kind of concepts, chronology, issues, and I'll get into this in a minute, objects, which are documents and people and places and things like that, to talk to one another so you can do really great reporting, which is built into Casemap. Now, Casemap is kind of what I would call a thinking person's tool. And it's a great one to mention if you're interviewing for a job as a paralegal, because even if the firm doesn't have great implementation, and you should always acknowledge that a lot of firms don't have great implementation at Casemap, that if you know it, it's a program that can really kind of take you far, because you're the master of the facts of the case, and that's what Casemap allows you to do. This program has taken me kind of all over the world. It's taken me to Cambodia to work at the War Crimes Tribunal, Africa to work at the War Crimes Tribunal out there, and a lot of law firms. It kind of opened the door for me. So it kind of has a special place for me. Before we start, I opened the program and I went over to the File Getting Started tab. You'll see that there's a Casemap Quick Start tutorial. And I highly recommend that you go through it. It's actually the only tutorial that I ever tell lawyers and paralegals to go through, because it's just so quick. It's these three steps here on the left. Lesson 1, organize. Lesson 2, analyze. And lesson 3, report. And I'm telling you, it'll tell the story of Casemap so much better than I will, and I'm sorry in advance for not being as good as the online help menu. So let's kind of jump into it. And we're going to use the example case, the Hawkins case that's in Casemap, your sample version of Casemap that you have. And what I want you to think of is Casemap really is just, at its base level, three spreadsheets that talk to one another. So spreadsheet 1 is the facts. It's a chronology. And what the facts spreadsheet does better than Word or Excel or a yellow legal pad is that it can keep dates in their relative order, whether you have the exact date or not. So you'll notice here on the upper left we have 1/13/03. But right above it, we have 1 question mark 03. It allows you to not know the exact date something happened, because that happens all the time. We don't know exactly when someone went to a meeting or someone mentioned something or saw someone. So being able to add a question mark and then sort that chronology so that it stays in its relative order is actually pretty powerful. The other thing Casemap does is it does document ranges. So a lot of things happen kind of in a range of time, and being able to express that is really great. This again will keep it in its relative order when we sort that. Because one of the things you're going to be asked to do as a paralegal quite a bit is create meaningful reports. And I'm saying meaningful reports because the reports have to have usable data. And that's where a lot of Casemap cases go wrong because people, don't take it seriously, and they're the guy that's the um, kind of not taking the work seriously, and so they enter everything the night before and they do it in a really sloppy way, so it screws up the whole database. And instead of that guy getting the wrong, everyone thinking poorly about that guy, they think, wow, Casemap's just a horrible program. So the way we get around that is through a role called the gatekeeper, that I call the gatekeeper, and a lot of people who are Casemap practitioners call the gatekeeper. And that's someone who monitors the Casemap database and just makes sure that people are entering data in the correct way. And this is good actually for any of the databases that you're using out there. Be a gatekeeper. And so make sure that people are getting putting information in the right way and that the reporting is useful to the team. Otherwise, it doesn't do any good to have a Casemap database if the reporting is meaningless, because a lot of people just input a lot of junk and it doesn't mean anything. So as I said, let's take just kind of like a high-level tour of the program first. And so this issue spreadsheet, and that's Casemap terminology for this page is a spreadsheet. This would be, of course, a column and a row, just like Excel. And this is a cell, just like Excel. That's the terminology in Casemap. And then next we're going to go to issues. And of course, this is the issues spreadsheet, and it's just your issue list. And a lot of people, they get a little caught up in trying to do things exactly according to some sort of rote plan. And the reality is that this is a very flexible program in that you can put your legal issues in here. You could put the elements of a case in here. You could do a document review where you call things hot, cold in here. It's flexible. You don't have to necessarily put your legal issues in the case. You can use this as kind of a checklist. And you'll see how this is going to work in a second, but this is the issues spreadsheet. The next spreadsheet, and the last of the three spreadsheets, is called the object spreadsheet. And what objects are in Casemap are the people, persons, and things in the case. So it's the documents, it's the files, it's the electronic files, it's the organizations that are mentioned, all that kind of stuff that's in the case. And so Casemap calls that an object. And when you enter information into Casemap, you'll note it's meant to look just like Outlook. So if you look in the upper left-hand screen, left-hand portion of your screen, you'll see new object. And if you select that, you can put, it's down at the bottom of your screen, you can select what kind of object type you're going to enter. Now, let's go ahead and put persons. Let's put our own names in here. So my name's Shannon Bales. I'm going to enter that. Now in Casemap lingo, this is a full name. And this full name is, what you and I call each other. Shannon Bales, whoever you are. When I hit the tab key or the mouse and go to the next cell, you'll notice that it has automatically created what's called a short name for me. And a short name is nothing more than a nickname. So for me, it's always last name, first initial. And that's the way for all names. It treats things very consistently. And that's important to know because you should, in general, take the defaults that Casemap offers you. So like last name, first initial, or if you're international business machines, IBM, it's going to, Casemap will automatically create a short name of IBM. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's create another object. We're going to make organization, international business machines. And it automatically enters it in as IBM. That's the short name again. And there are a number of different object types. There's There's a document. I don't have a document to put in right now, but you could put the Bates number, for example, of a document, and it would automatically enter that into the short name as well. So you can see some document examples up here. So like the Thomas memo is actually short name. That's the Bates number for the document. I typically like to use the Bates number. So let's just, as an example, XYZ1 as both the full name and short name for documents. Now let's go over to the next cell, the next column and cell, and roll in case. Now what's a roll in case? And again, I want you to think of this in a very, not a strict way, but a very loose way. So how can we use roll in case? Roll in case is how you matter to the case. So for me, I'm just your teacher today. And maybe IBM is the client. And maybe this document is the smoking gun document. And you can put all kinds of information in here to tell us about the role in case for these different people. The next one is key. Now, I need to point out that each one of these spreadsheets that we go to has its own custom columns. There's like 150 different columns or so related to each spreadsheet. And what it'll do is that, why that's important is that it customizes the column information according to the type of data it is. So for example, if I go to, look on your left here, persons, you'll see that it just tells us information about people, right? Here I am again, right? And as a matter of fact, there's additional information if you were to take a look at it. You would see detailed information about a person. So like excuse me. There's a built-in a lot of built-in functionality with Lexis, but what you can do is get some detail about them and all sorts of information that's related to them as a person. So gender, description, maybe their address and phone number. It's all in here. And if you were to go to documents, you'll notice now it's document type information like Bates numbers and things of that nature. So it's really specific and it's customized. And the way you show and hide those columns that are here on screen is you can right click on any column header and select hide field or insert field. So for example, I'm going to go over to the right. And let's say this review status and review by fields are not important to me to be viewing. I'm going to right click and hide that field, and it's gone. Right click, hide field, and it's gone. And why that's important, and I can also right click and insert a field, and I get a list of all the available fields to me. Right? You see that? I'll put roll in case back in there. And you noticed it's way over here on the right. I can left click, hold, and carry it over to a more useful location here for me. So I'm showing and hiding the columns that are useful for me in my day-to-day. I can also create custom fields. So insert field. If the field that I want isn't here, I can select new. I'm going to call it test. And I can create all sorts of different fields here. Anything from sortable fields, large data-driven fields, date and time fields. We're going to create a checkbox field just for the heck of it. Oops, I messed it up. So new, we're going to call it test. We're going to make it a checkbox, hit OK. Hit OK. And here it is, right here in the middle of your screen, you see test. Now, could that be a series of checkboxes across your screen where you're trying to track some depositions, for example? That's one way I've seen it used. deposition scheduled, deposition uh, 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 created, and final deposition received. All the different steps that might occur when you're going through the deposition process. And why that's important is it's really easy to report on these things. And the way you do reporting is, of course, by searching for the information you want. So I'm going to right click on key, and key is nothing more than just a how documents might be important to your team, but it's a field that you could use any way you want. And what I'm going to do is right click on key, and I'm going to filter by selection here on yes. And you'll notice it returned, if you look in the upper right hand corner, it filtered down to 6 of 37 records. So there's 6 records here. And it just gives me the key fields that say yes. And why that's important is that I can now just hit print. And what it'll do is it'll give me a report just based on what I can see here. Oops. And of course it crashed a little bit. Hold on, I don't think I have a printer set up for this. So PDF, we'll PDF it. Give it a second here. And what it does is that it creates a report, and this is just a report from the documents spreadsheet, organized by me, Chris Attorney in this case. And you can put all sorts of information here, but this is basically the columns that you saw on the screen a minute ago, the 6 columns. Close it. And I can stop the search by going to the upper right hand corner and selecting cancel, or I can right click and cancel the filter. So filter is just a search. There's other things you can do to search. You can right click in one of the cells and type in something, so Hawkins. And there's 29 documents here that say Hawkins. If you look in the upper right hand corner again, you see filtered 29 of 37 records. The reality is when you're a paralegal, what you're doing is a lot of searching and a lot of reporting. So you want to make those reports as quality as possible because it's going to reflect upon your work product. And one of the things I like about Casemap searching is that we've done one search here for Hawkins in the full name field. If I did a search again for just those key records, up is going to pop this Venn diagram. And it's going to give me an option to do or, and, or cancel the previous search. We're going to do an and search here. And I like this because it's really easy on users to learn how to do some basic searching. So if you look in this yellow toolbar right here, you'll see full name containing Hawkins and key equals yes. That's my search result. And if I just hit print right now, I would have a report that gives me the important information here. Okay, let's cancel. Now that's pretty neat. The searching is pretty neat, and that goes across to the facts as well. If you right click and filter by selection, you get same thing. If you're on a word, you'll get that filter by selection. So cancel. Now you'll notice that some of these words are underlined. Now any of the underlined words are linked records, and the link is the other concept within Casemap that's really important. And what it is, it means that this spreadsheet is talking to another spreadsheet, that it recognized a word from the other spreadsheet. And the way you do this linking within Casemap is that you do it via the short name. You can't do it via the full name. You have to do it by the short name. This is the way you build really strong reporting, and this is the way that you will really become a star for your entire team. So I want you to notice, here's my name, and it's 0000 all the way across. I go back here to the facts, and I add a new fact, just the same way that I added a new object, and I put the date in. We're just going to come up with a date. Oops. And I put, I start typing that short name, you'll see that it starts to pop up. The little gray bar with my name in there. Now, that's really, it seems not so exciting when it's just my name and there's only one Shannon Bales in the class, but if you have like half a dozen Smiths or a bunch of people with the last name Wen, and they all come up, you're going to be able to see this list and pick and choose the one that you want to use. As is, I can just hit enter, space, and you'll see that my name is now linked to Monday, July 4th, 2016. So it teaches a class, right? I'm not going to put anything in these other fields for right now, but I am going to turn back to the person's object screen. And you'll notice now, under the facts column, that there's the number 1 in there. And what that means is that there is a fact linked to my name. And if I click it, this little dot, dot, dot right here, you get the fact associated with my name. Now, it's not so exciting if you have one name and it's about me teaching a class, but if you have 5,000 facts and you want to find out the 5 places that Shannon Bales shows up, it's pretty powerful because you just hit the little dot, dot, dot right here, right? And you hit print, and you come up with the report, right? The one fact link to object Shannon Bales. One fact linked to object Shannon Bales, and there it is. Again, not super exciting if you just have the one fact, but if you had one fact you were looking for in a list of 5,000 chronological items, it would make a difference to you. Now, you see that these names are all underlined, and I told you that that is from those showing that the object is linked. So of course, if you put in a name here, oops, if you put a name in here, Jim Smith we'll use, and nothing pops up and nothing is underlined, that means that person is not linked under the person's spreadsheet under the objects, and that you would have to add them. So you back out. Oops, I'm going to just right click, add object, person, and I'm going to put Jim Smith. See, and of course it defaults to our short name default, which is last name first initial, and it adds them. It has now added him, Jim Smith, to the case. So I call him a witness. So we're going to go back to the facts spreadsheet again. Attends class. Now, what do we get with these short names that are these linked objects here when we hover over them? So if you hover over it, you get the role and case information, and that's really powerful. And I'm going to tell you why here. You already know I'm the teacher of your class, but let's say you're new to a case and you don't know who any of these people are, and you don't know who any of the facts are in this case, and you don't know anything about this case. You can come here and get the basic chronology if it's been input correctly. You can get the basic list of persons in the case, the most important documents in the case, and the list of issues in the case. Moreover, you can find every fact linked to, for example, wrongful termination, or every fact linked to Philip Hawkins. And if I just hit print here, I have a report. So think of yourself going into a meeting, and you are the paralegal in charge, and you want to show that you're the one with the knowledge, you're the one with the case knowledge. So what you do is you find out what the topics of the day are and have some meaningful reports. I'm going to show you some other reporting tools in a second, but let's keep going through this for a moment. I'm going to go back to the fact chronology and into a date cell. And I want you to notice, you don't just have the opportunity to put the date in there. You can actually put the time in there and the time zone. So if you had something going on between an East Coast and a West Coast, some sort of communication occurred, you could input the different time zones in here and times and sort this and have things stay in the correct relative order. So I had a stock trading case one time where it was alleged that a West Coast person was calling an East Coast person and trading after the closing bell. And so we put a bunch of their emails from both guys in, both keyed to their own time zones, and we're able to sort and show the communication going back and forth between those two people and when the orders were coming in and out, and it all made sense. It helped organize the case for us, because otherwise we would have relied on what? A Word document of some kind or someone's own personal knowledge. So having this as a tool that the entire team can share, and new people onboard to a case and see it, and see the most important information, and gain the benefit of people's working knowledge of the case that maybe they spent months on, or maybe even years. Because you'll notice this as you get into your legal careers. One of the things you'll notice is that legal teams come and go. People leave the firm. People go to other cases, and oftentimes where they go, their case knowledge goes as well. So what are you going to do? You're going to go track down their yellow legal pad, or some incomplete Word document or something along those lines. That's why Casemap is just great. It documents everything. It puts it's just so powerful when done right, and so honestly so horrible when done wrong. So I'm going to show you another way to link between the spreadsheets, and this is linking between the facts and issues. So if I go here into the middle of the screen, you'll see issue linking, and if I click that, up comes an issue linking box on the right side of the screen. And what that is keyed to, you'll notice here, wrongful termination, age discrimination, and retaliation. That is an exact duplicate of what you're seeing here. Wrongful termination, age discrimination, retaliation. And what it is it's a way to issue code, literally, different facts in your case. So here we are. We'll start with the very first one. We could issue code this fact by just checking the boxes. And I want you to notice that as I click or unclick the boxes, the information is being put into this linked issues column. You could also type the short name. Mental anguish, there it is. You can type it in. And it'll select the box here. And you can go record by record, and that's often a paralegal task, and get that information issue coded. So that when I come back over here to issues, and I want to know all the facts associated with age discrimination, what do? I go to the pound facts, and the pound shows that that's a linked field. I hit the little dot, 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 the little ellipses, and it gives me the report of every fact associated with age discrimination. 10 facts, right? What do I do with this? I print it, or I export it to put it into something else, and I'm now the person with the most information on age discrimination that shows up at the meeting or the deposition or whatever it is. It's the same thing for persons and objects, right? Well, person objects, right? So if I hit the issue linking, I can issue code individual files, individual persons or documents, or organizations, whatever the object is. I can issue code it. And what I'm going to do is right click so you can see the information going into the field. So pound issues. Where did it go? Pound issues. Actually, wrong one. Let me hide field. Right click insert fields, linked issues. Sorry about that. So here's linked issues. We'll put it at the end so you can see it. And the link up here means it's a linked field, and that's meaning you can use it to build these reports that we've been talking about. So again, when I check the boxes, the information gets placed in here, or I can do it just by typing it in. And when I come back here to the Issues tab, it's not up here on the column header. I'm going to hide this one because I'm not using either one of these fields. I'm going to insert the field. I'm going to insert pound persons and pound objects, just so you can see how detailed you can get into it. So pound objects is are all the objects, documents, persons, organizations associated with that's been issue coded. So click it, click the ellipses, and there's my list. Or if I wanted just the persons, I could add that field and know just the persons associated with age discrimination. Think about this as you're going through a deposition or something along those lines, and you want to have that information and all the facts at your fingertips. This is great for an attorney in a deposition. It's great actually if you're in trial and you need to know all the facts about some witness. You can come over here to persons, right? And let's say Philip Hawkins was the guy on the stand that day. You could have a report with all the facts linked to him, with the date and the time. You could have a report with all the issues linked to him, right? So let's see. So I added that, issues. There's no issues linked to him. So what does having nothing tell me? So if I have no issues linked to something, does that mean someone hasn't done their job? Linked issues. There it is, it just updated. So now there's 6 issues associated with Philip Hawkins. Click it, and here's my report, right? Of the different issues. So I'm in court, I want to, or a deposition, or just doing my day-to-day, I can find everything associated with that person at the drop of a hat. And these are kind of like you've seen me do them, just so quick and just very quick to do, and something that you could take all day to make a report like that using some of the other tools like relativity or concordance, where you're just going through tons of information, and it's you're just sorting through so much data, and having it just here at your fingertips is so helpful. So that leads me to another thing, in that Casemap really is for the gold in your case. It's not for every document in your case. You have other tools for that, like concordance or relativity, that you would use to put the library of information in your case in. Casemap really just gets the most important information. You don't want to overcrowd it with a bunch of useless information. Okay, so I've showed you the 3 most important spreadsheets. In fact, there are actually other spreadsheets, like you have a questions spreadsheet, so you can assign questions to people and research in the case. We're not going to go over either one of those. They're not commonly used, but they are used, but it's a more advanced feature. I'm going to show you reporting, and the Casemap reporting features are actually some of the strongest features of the program. And it has what's called a report book, which are some canned-up reports that are actually customizable as you learn and grow with this program. But for example, a case summary. Now imagine you're a new person on a case, and you need to learn about the case. Someone gives you this case summary. I mean, look at this work product. I mean, it's fantastic, right? It has an issue outline. It has who the important people are, who the organizations are, the facts, the important facts of the case, the document index. It's got everything that you would need to kind of get up to speed, and someone can just PDF it and email it to you so easily. There's other report books as well, like just key people in the case. So these are just the people marked key in the case, right? It's not all the people, just the key people, key organizations, key facts. So, it's just all really just right here at your fingertips in these report books. And they're fantastic. And if you spend some quality time here in report books, I'm telling you, you're going to have some great work product to give to people. You can also do some interesting reporting with this by issue report, which brings up a wizard, and that's great. And what it's going to do is it's going to associate every fact that's been issue coded in a report. And I want you to see this. I'm going to put it in HTML just because it's faster. Oops. Okay, so what this is it's a list of all the issues in your case along with all the facts associated in your case. So here's issue 1, wrongful termination. You remember that, right? All right, let's go back to our issues spreadsheet. Wrongful termination, age discrimination, retaliation. So here's wrongful termination. Here are all the facts associated with wrongful termination. Here's all the facts associated with age discrimination. So if one fact were in each one of these, if there was a fact in each issue, it would show up each time. So it gives you a complete list of what's going on. Now, one of the things I really like about this is if there were no issues, if there were no facts associated with a certain issue, there would be nothing in there. So think about that. If there were no facts bearing on damages in your Casemap databases, what would you do? You'd want to associate some facts to the issue of damages, right? That's case analysis. That's what this is doing here. It's helping you make sure that you've covered all your bases. So maybe you're going to do the elements of a crime. You have the elements of a crime, and you want to make sure that there's facts associated with each one of those elements of a crime, right? We have a lot of people working at the DA's office and DOJ and that kind of thing. Maybe your issue list are the elements of some crime somewhere. You want to make sure that you have a fact for each one of those elements so you can get your conviction. And if you're on the other side, if you're on the other side of the coin, with the public defender's office or something along those lines, it works for you as well because you can put facts that tend to show someone's innocence for those elements of a crime as well. So it's great. It's absolutely fantastic, and we're just kind of scratching the surface here. So what I'd encourage you to do, and we have one or two more things to go over, but what I would encourage you to do is go over to File, do the Casemap Quick Start tutorial like we discussed at the beginning, right? Lesson 1, 2, and 3. And then, there's also a how-to video library. But you can go through these and really learn a lot in a short period of time. I want to show you a companion program as well, really quickly. I'm going to do a quick search. Let's do a search for Hawkins. I'm going to right-click on Hawkins, filter. I have 24 results. Let's make it a little shorter, okay? Let's make it just the yes material. Filter by selection. It's going to be an and search. I'm down to 18 out of my 30 records. This is really a really small database. These typically are a couple hundred, couple thousand records for any typical case. And there's a companion program called Casemap. And what it does is create timelines for you, right? So 18 of 30. And give me 1 second here. File, send to. And we're going to send this spreadsheet to Casemap, which is the companion program. And it creates a timeline, right? And it did it that quick. You saw it. This would have taken me as a trial person a day, 2 days to make, right? And here we just did it by clicking and sending to Casemap. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to close it. I'm not going to save it. I'm back in my chronology with 18 of 30 records. So File, Send to, Spreadsheet. You could do record by record, but we're going to send the entire spreadsheet again. And there it is. You can change the colors. Oops. You can do lots of things. You can create custom colors. You can insert graphics in here. You can put the timeline in the middle, put facts for and against you above and below. Here's one of the ranges that we saw before. See, starts here, ends here. Sometimes you have to move the boxes around, make it pretty. I like to do like facts for above, facts against below. I'm just right now showing you how to move around boxes basically. And from Time Map, you can actually send to. Give me 1 second. Send to PowerPoint. Do I want to include the hyperlinks? It was asking. I'm going to say no. I could save these as images as well here, but what it's done is create a really quick timeline for me. We'd have to fix it and arrange it and do those kinds of things, but I did that like in 2 minutes, and that's something that would have taken me all day to do. So let's talk about the assignment a little bit. I was going to have you do a Casemap database where you put 5 facts in, 5 issues in, and 5 objects in. And if you'd like to do that, let's go ahead and do it as extra credit, because I think this is kind of it's a really great program, but it's not the most important program in terms of trial presentation, which is the focus of this class. So if you want to do this as an extra credit assignment, go through and create something that says that has a Casemap database with 5 records in the 3 spreadsheets. So it could be on any topic. It could be your favorite Amazing Race teams. It can be on your family. I always do it on my family. I put my 5, me, my wife, my 3 kids, put when they were born on the chronology, and for the issues, one likes chocolate, one likes Disneyland, one likes surfing. So that would be my chronology in my Casemap database. So if you want to do something like that, go ahead and do it, and we'll figure out some way to do extra credit out of it. But I don't think there's any obligation to do an assignment this week. We're going to move into kind of a similar thing next week with transcripts. And then we're going to talk about the final. And the final is really just going to be you showing me your skills with Trial Director. And what we're going to have to do is schedule a time where we can connect on Skype, and you can show me. I'll call out a few exhibits, and you'll put them up on screen, and then do a call out, which is an enlargement, right? And some highlighting, and you'll kind of get to know how we do, how it works in the courtroom that way. Anyone that wants to come down to my office in downtown LA, welcome to do so. We can just do it in person there. If you want some experience with some of the tools, we'll set up projectors and all that kind of fun stuff so you can see that. But again, no obligation. We'll just do this via Skype, and it'll be a kind of a quick thing, hopefully a fun thing. I've really enjoyed teaching the class. I've enjoyed talking to many of you. A lot of it's just over email, but I've really enjoyed this, and I appreciate you sticking with it. This is a new thing for me as well, so I really appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you. So again, thank you, and I appreciate it.